A United States Navy F-18 fighter jet, one of the most advanced, most capable, and most battle-proven combat aircraft in the world, has allegedly been shot down by Iranian forces, and the Pentagon is responding right now, tonight. If you have ever wanted to understand what a genuine, unscripted moment of military crisis looks like, what it feels like when the world holds its breath and waits to see whether cooler heads will prevail or whether the next 24 hours will change history, this is that moment. You are watching The News Command. I'm Charlotte Rose, and I need you to stay with me for every word of what follows, because this story is moving fast. The stakes are almost incomprehensibly high, and the decisions being made in Washington, in Tehran, and in military command centers across the Middle East right now will determine whether this incident becomes a contained crisis or the opening chapter of a conflict that reshapes the entire global order. Let me be clear with you from the very first sentence, as I always try to be. We are reporting on claims that are still being verified. The Pentagon has not yet issued a full and detailed confirmation, but the weight of incoming information, the nature of the official responses already emerging, and the urgency with which governments around the world are reacting all point to something serious having occurred. This is the News Command. We do not speculate, we do not sensationalize, but we also do not look away when the world demands our full and undivided attention. And tonight, it absolutely does. To fully grasp the significance of what we are reporting tonight, you need to understand what an F-18 actually represents, not just as a piece of military hardware, but as a symbol of American air power and strategic reach. The F-18 Super Hornet is the backbone of United States Navy carrier aviation. It is a twin-engine, supersonic, multi-role combat aircraft capable of performing air superiority missions, precision strike operations, electronic warfare, and reconnaissance. It flies from aircraft carriers, the most powerful mobile military platforms ever constructed, and it projects American power into contested airspace around the world. An F-18 does not operate alone. It operates within a layered system of radar coverage, electronic warfare support, aerial refueling, and coordinated strike packages that represents the full depth of American military investment and technological superiority. The idea that such an aircraft could be engaged and downed by Iranian forces is not something that American military planners dismiss lightly. It represents a direct challenge to the core premise of American air dominance in the region, and it raises questions, urgent, uncomfortable, strategically critical questions about the nature of Iran's air defense capabilities, about the rules of engagement under which American aircraft are operating, and about where exactly this confrontation is heading. The Persian Gulf and the broader Middle East theater have been building toward a moment of direct military confrontation for years. Tonight, we may be inside that moment. Here is what we know, verified and unverified as of this broadcast. Iranian military sources and state-affiliated media channels are claiming that Revolutionary Guard air defense units successfully engaged and destroyed a United States Navy F-18 Super Hornet operating in the vicinity of Iranian airspace over or near the Persian Gulf region. Iranian officials are characterizing the engagement as a defensive response to what they describe as an aggressive and unauthorized penetration of Iranian sovereign airspace by American combat aircraft. Iranian state television has been broadcasting this claim continuously for the past hour, accompanied by what appears to be radar track footage and imagery, though this material has not been independently authenticated by neutral international sources. The Pentagon's response has been immediate but carefully worded. The Department of Defense confirmed in a statement released within the last 40 minutes that it is aware of reports of an incident involving a U.S. Navy aircraft in the Gulf region and that it is actively investigating the matter. The statement did not confirm the loss of the aircraft, did not name a specific aircraft type, and did not comment on the status of the pilot or pilots. That careful, non-committal language is itself deeply significant. When the Pentagon chooses words with that level of precision in a fast-moving situation, it typically means one of two things. Either the information is still being confirmed at the highest levels, or the confirmed information is so serious that its release is being managed at the most senior levels of the national security apparatus. The international reaction to tonight's reported incident is unfolding with remarkable speed, and its shape tells us a great deal about the global stakes of what we are witnessing. In Washington, the National Security Council has been convened in emergency session. Senior members of both the Senate Armed Services Committee and the House Foreign Affairs Committee have been contacted for urgent briefings. Multiple sources familiar with congressional leadership communications confirm that lawmakers are being told this situation is, quote, extremely serious and rapidly developing. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs has been in direct communication with theater commanders at Central Command throughout the evening. Israel's military and intelligence establishment, which has been operating in a state of heightened alert given the broader regional context, is closely monitoring developments and has reportedly placed its own air defense systems on elevated readiness. Saudi Arabia, which has its own profound strategic interest in the outcome of any American-Iranian military confrontation, has convened its national security leadership for emergency consultations. In Europe, NATO allies are being briefed through emergency channels. Britain's Ministry of Defense has issued a statement expressing grave concern and affirming solidarity with the United States while calling for restraint and de-escalation. France and Germany are both pushing urgently for diplomatic engagement to prevent the situation from spiraling beyond the point of control. Russia has issued a statement through its foreign ministry warning against any further military escalation and calling on all parties to exercise maximum restraint, language that notably stops short of any condemnation of the Iranian action. Let me now take you into the deeper strategic analysis, because understanding the why and the what next of this incident is just as important as reporting the what happened. The F-18 is a carrier-based aircraft. If it was operating in the Gulf region, it was almost certainly launched from one of the American aircraft carriers that the United States has deployed to the region in recent weeks as part of its show of force posture in response to escalating Iranian military activity. The presence of American carrier strike groups in the Persian Gulf is simultaneously a deterrent signal and a potential provocation, depending entirely on whose perspective you adopt. From Washington's view, the carriers are there to deter Iranian aggression, to protect American allies, and to ensure freedom of navigation in international waters. From Tehran's view, the carriers are forward-deployed instruments of American military intimidation, positioned to enable rapid strikes against Iranian territory, and their presence represents an existential threat to the Islamic Republic that justifies robust defensive measures. If an F-18 crossed into what Iran considers its territorial airspace, whether deliberately as part of a reconnaissance or strike mission, or inadvertently due to navigation error or miscommunication, then Iran's decision to engage it would be consistent with its declared rules of engagement and its long-standing public warnings about the consequences of airspace violations. But here is the critical question that the entire international community is now asking. Was the aircraft in Iranian territorial airspace, or was it in international airspace? The answer to that question will determine everything about how the United States responds and how the world judges that response. We are at a moment tonight that demands honesty above all else. Honesty about what we know, honesty about what we do not know, and honesty about what the range of possible outcomes actually looks like for real people in the real world. Let me give you that honesty directly. If the loss of this F-18 is confirmed, and if American personnel were aboard the Super Hornet carries a crew of 1 or 2 depending on the variant, then the United States faces an almost automatic and constitutionally driven pressure to respond militarily. The precedent of leaving the death or capture of American service members unanswered is one that no American administration has ever been willing to accept, and for reasons that go beyond politics into the fundamental logic of military deterrence. But a military response against Iran carries risks that are severe, cascading, and potentially catastrophic in ways that extend far beyond any single strike. Iran's network of proxy forces across the region, Hezbollah in Lebanon, Houthi forces in Yemen, militia groups in Iraq and Syria, can respond to American military action with attacks on American assets and American allies across multiple fronts simultaneously. The Strait of Hormuz, through which nearly 20% of the world's daily oil supply passes, could be closed or severely disrupted, triggering a global energy crisis whose economic consequences would be felt in every home, every business, every economy on Earth. This is the brutal arithmetic of the situation tonight, and it is why the decisions being made right now in the Situation Room, in the Pentagon, in CENTCOM headquarters, and in back channels between Washington and Tehran matter not just to governments and generals. They matter to you, to every person watching tonight who depends on a stable world, a functioning economy, and the simple, profound human desire to live without the shadow of war. I'm Charlotte Rose. This is the News Command. We will be here through every development of this story, bringing you truth, bringing you depth, bringing you the clarity this moment demands. Stay with us. The world needs your attention right now, and we will not let you down.